Hi, my name is Kara, and today we're going to take a look at Explain Everything. So you may be wondering what it is, or maybe you've used it for a while, but Explain Everything is an online whiteboard app. It can also be used web-based that allows you to record as you're working through things on a whiteboard. It also allows you and your students to collaborate in real time. And you also have the option of creating lectures, sending them to the kids and letting the kids respond and send them back. So let's take a look at Explain Everything. All right, so we're going to head to explaineverything.com. And you're going to want to go ahead and sign in with your account. And you'll land on your dashboard, also known as your My Drive. And if you have used Explain Everything before, you will see any boards that you've created in your drive here. So you can always edit any of those from here, or you can create new ones. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And you'll notice I get three options. So I can create from a blank canvas, I can create from a template, or I can create from a file. So we're going to start with a blank canvas. I'm going to go ahead and join with my microphone on in case I decide I would like to record along the way. All right, and you'll notice that it's just a whiteboard. So we have created a new project, and I want you to notice that along the side over here, we've got lots of different options for how we can create on our boards, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is that your boards are infinite. So you can create one board that goes on forever. You can keep dragging it and adding things around the board, but you also do have the option to add more slides right down here. Right here, will allow you to add more boards. So if you have an ongoing lesson or something that you want to keep everything contained together, you can do that on one board or in multiple boards. So let's go over a couple things really quickly. Your hand tool is what it's going to default to. Over here, you'll notice it's highlighted in purple. And that's going to be kind of your manipulate tool. So you can click and drag. Underneath that is going to be your pencils. You've got pencils, pens, and a marker. You've got a highlighter options, an eraser. You've got a bucket fill. So for any of you that have been using slides, your bucket fill here works just the same as it does in slides. You have an option to draw shapes, add text, a cutout tool, so just like cropping, that's what that tool is for. Your X is going to be your best friend because that's how you're going to get rid of things that you don't like. You've got a laser pointer, so if you're recording a lecture and you need a laser pointer to point out what you're working on, you've got that option. And then you've got an inspector tool. And the inspector tool comes in really handy if you're building layers of things. Okay, so that's where you're going to find all of your arrange options and layering options. So bringing to front, sending to back, those kind of things if you're familiar with building in slides. So the first thing I want to look at, I'm going to take myself off the screen, and we're going to just build a lesson from a file that we already have. So this can be a file that you've downloaded from somewhere. It can be a scanned photo. Maybe you've taken your phone and you've scanned an image of a chart or a graph or a diagram or something that you use all the time. We're going to look at how to upload that. The other option for those of you that have been building things in PowerPoint or Google Slides, keep in mind that you can always download those individual slides or the whole slideshow to import in to Explain Everything in order to kind of have a live presentation where maybe you're demoing over top. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the Add Media. And you'll notice you've got multiple different options. So if I wanted to take a photo of myself, or if I'm using this on my tablet, I could take a picture right from here of whatever I would like to use. I can take a screenshot. I can add an existing image or video. I can add a file, a sticky note, clip art, or audio. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select existing image or video. And I am going to grab this image of a water cycle. And let's just make a note. If you are looking for graphics like this or anything to design and you haven't explored Canva, I would encourage you to do so. And as an educator using Canva, you can get a free account so that you have access to more of its capabilities as well as its graphics. So I would encourage you to sign up for that if you haven't. I'm going to just select Done. And then it's going to bring this image in where I can resize it. I can rotate it. I can do whatever. And notice that inspector tool pops up. So I can arrange, and that's my whole aligning and sending to front and back. I can always edit, so I can copy and duplicate. I can flip, do all of those things. And then I can lock. So if you want to be sure that you are going to give access to your students with this and you want to go ahead and lock that image in place, you can do so. Or if you want to lock it so that you don't accidentally move it around when you're demonstrating, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave this the way it is. You'll notice down here, I can get the record button. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Well, no, I'm not. We'll do this in just a moment, the recording piece, but I want to add some more portions to this diagram. Okay, so now that I've inserted my image, I want to add some more to it. So a couple options. One, I might just let my kids do this. I might just send them the graphic and allow them to add the text boxes, or I might decide to give the text boxes to them. So if I give the text boxes to them, I'm going to come over here to the text tool. I'm going to select that, and I can choose what color I want to write in, if I want my box to have a border, and the font size, the font, the alignment, bold, obviously, italicize. So I'm going to go ahead and add my first word. Okay. And I could continue to do this for each of the missing pieces. But like I said, if you also just want to be able to share this with your students, you could also do a quick record and walk them through how to create the text box. So if you would like to do something like that, all you're going to do is import your image. We're going to come down to record. And I'm going to, I can always mess with the size. So that black line is what it's capturing on the board. So anytime you're recording, you want to pay attention to that black line, because anything that is inside of it is what it is recording for you. Okay. So I might say, hey guys, so here's the water cycle. What I'd like for you to do is select the A along the side to grab a text box. You can choose the color you'd like to write in and whether you want a border around your words or not. Then I want you to click and drag to create your box and type in the words that you're going to need. Once you've done that, I want you to click and drag them where they go on the board. Once you've finished, I want you to submit and we will review. Good luck. All right, so if I wanted to record this and give my kids directions on how to create their own text boxes, I'm going to come down here to the record button, and you'll notice this black line. Anything inside of that black line is what will be recorded. You can always mess with the frame. You can decide if you want it portrait or landscape. You can decide on your frame ratio, and you can decide if you want to always see that or not. Okay, the other options you have are to zoom, and then you've got a question if you get lost. Okay, so the bad thing about this is that if you're going to walk them through how to create something, you're going to have to be very descriptive, because you notice that the toolbar is outside of that black line. So that means as you're recording, it's not going to capture that toolbar. So I might say to my kids, along the left-hand side, you will see your drawing toolboard. I want you to click on the A, select your pen tool, and whether or not you want a box around your words. And then I want you to click and drag to draw your box and add the appropriate words that you're going to need to complete the empty boxes. All right, once you've created your words, I want you to click them and drag them where they belong. You can always resize so they fit in the boxes given to you. All right, then once you're done creating your directions, you're just going to hit stop. Now, there are several different options to play around with editing. So once you're in here, you can make a selection. Yes, it created 2 files now. And you'll also notice at the top is going to be when you're using a certain tool. So you can go back and watch those as well. Okay, once I've finished, I can come up here and either share this code with my students, or I can copy this link to share with students. And I'm also going to want to pay attention here to the permissions. So just like when you're in Google Docs or Slides or Sheets or anything, you're going to want to be sure that you mess with the permissions so that kids are allowed to have access to those things. All right, so that was building a lesson from an image. But there are so many more things that we can do with this. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how we can create different backgrounds for maybe some of the things that we're wanting to do that don't entail images that we already have. Okay, so let's take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a new board, so I'm not creating a new project. The thing with adding the background that can be helpful is if you need grid lines or you need like a different color or whatever, you have those controls. So you'll notice down here next to the plus sign, there's a little down arrow, and I am on slide 2 of 2. And up here at the top, this little color thing is the set background. So here's where I can come over. So I've got some patterns, I've got grid lines, I can make, I guess, what you might call notebook lines. So say I'm looking for a grid. I can do that here with the pattern grid. And then I can also change the pattern color. So maybe it's a little too intense for me and I'd like to lighten it. I'm going to select pattern color, and I just chose a gray. All right. When you are done, you're just going to select done. And now I have grid lines as my background. So maybe this could be something as simple as writing or drawing equations. You might want your students to outline a floor plan. So many different options with the grid lines. So I'm going to come over here and grab the pencil. And again, you've got tons of options when it comes to like your thickness, what kind of writing tool you actually want to use. Do you want to use a pen? Do you want to use a pencil? And then you can choose different colors. And if you don't like the colors they've given you, you can always create your own color palette. So if I select one of the colors and I don't like the red, I can change that one to maroon because I know I'm going to use it all the time. I can also customize my palette. So if I know that all the time I want to use this color purple, I can add that to my palette of pens. Okay, so keep that in mind. Lots of different ways to customize. So I'm going to grab the pen. I'm going to turn off the camera. So the camera is the reason why we're getting those grid lines. I mean, the camera frame lines. So I'm going to turn those off so that I just have a blank board. And I'm going to go ahead and start drawing. So say I need my kids to do, now this would be easier with my finger or a pen, a stylus. So maybe I've got a bunch of different equations that I could build on here. I could also allow my students to do this, where if they want to use it as a big writing pad to work out their information, you can do that. And say I want to get rid of this. So I've made a mess up. I can either grab the eraser. Okay, that's too tiny. I'm going to make it bigger. And I can come in and erase my work. The other option I can do is if I want to erase the whole equation that I just wrote, I can grab that delete, click on that delete button, click over here on the equation, and it'll highlight it all as one, and I can just get rid of it. Let's recap how to change background, just because I think that can be really useful. Remember, down here in the corner, you're going to click on the up arrow, and you're going to select background, and then you can adjust accordingly to what suits your needs. Okay, this can also be a great option for your students if they're trying to build presentations or things that they are going to share with you or their classmates. So I've changed my background back to white because the green was a little much. So let's go over a couple more things and then I want to touch on templates. So under the adding media, if you are using an iPad or an iPhone and the Explain Everything app, you do have a few more options when it comes to adding media. Like you can record videos using your iPad or your iPhone. You can add real life browsers to a whiteboard to search things directly from Explain Everything. Yeah, you've got a couple more options, but here you can add a photo, so you can take a photo. You could take a screenshot. So I could go ahead and take a screenshot of my entire window, go ahead and say done, and then walk them through how to do something. So then I might grab my pen tool and I might say, you know, hit record, and then I'm going to walk them through how to select a file and then click done, whatever. And I would walk them through each of those processes and they're going to see my live drawings happening. Okay. The other thing you can do is, obviously we added the existing image. You've got the option to add different files. So those could be PDFs. If you're using those. You do have the option for sticky notes. So if any of you have been using Jamboard as an interactive whiteboard, I know sticky notes are a favorite, and you still have that option here. And you can change the colors and allow for collaboration that way. You've got built-in clip art. So if you're trying to create, lively things for your students, you have clip art that's already built in. Another fun thing to utilize clip art with is if your students are using Explain Everything, they can get real creative, maybe building storyboards or doing book reports, lots of different options for the clip art piece, and they can get creative. And then existing audio. So if you've already got audio files saved of things that you recorded or music, you can import those as well. Okay, so I'm going to pop out of here to projects because I would like to create a new project, and let's look at templates. So these templates can be helpful if you are, looking for pre-made things that are going to fit what you are looking for. So there are some Venn diagrams, there's meeting stuff, lesson plans, graphs, there's a storyboard, then you've got some other holiday themed things. So let's grab Two Truths and a Lie, because that one can be fun for all ages. Okay, I'm going to join with my microphone. Okay, so I'm going to write down 3 things about myself. Maybe. Obviously, I'm going to have to make my text way smaller. All right, they can pop in their names. And instead of guessing, so this already has all your directions. Instead of guessing, you can vote for a lie by placing a dot on the rectangle that you do not believe to be true. Okay, so say I would like to share this out with my students. I'm going to come over to the code. I'm going to say that anyone with the link can access, or only specific people, but I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm going to grab this link, and then I'm going to pop over to Google Classroom. Okay, and I just popped the link in there and I'm going to assign it. But something to keep in mind is there was only 3 names on there. So I could assign this to 3 kids, and make multiple boards, or I could just duplicate the task. Now, obviously, too, if you have 60 kids all in one thing at one time, it's going to get a little crazy, just like it would if they were all on a Google Doc at one time. So, but that is a template, and that is how you can share to Google Classroom. Remember, you can also have your kids join using that code. So if they just go to explaineverything.com and enter in the code, they can also access it that way if you don't want to assign it through Google Classroom. All right, let's go back And a couple other things. Remember, from your drive, you can always edit your boards from here. Whoops. So if I click on those three dots, I click on the three dots, it's going to open and it's going to ask if I want to edit. Do I want to just invite, assign it straight to Google Classroom? And then you've got some other options here. If you want to copy things, delete it, etc. All right, so that was a quick overview of Explain Everything and different ways that you can use it in the classroom. I would encourage you to just play. That's the easiest way usually to learn something new. And if all else fails, have your kids play too and teach you something new. Some other ideas for ways you could use it are to analyze text. So say you take a quick photo of a book or just a sheet of text that you'd like for the kids to, highlight or underline or whatever. You could always add that in there, and they can, work on it together. Don't be afraid to have your kids create things and Explain Everything. Make them the creators instead of putting all the work on you. You can also use it to provide feedback. So it can be a great way to have your students submit work and you can go in and give feedback. I like the idea of using it as a way to brainstorm ideas. So if you've got kids working on a group project and part of their process is brainstorming ideas that they have, what a great way than to just give them a collaborative whiteboard and have them all be hashing things out digitally. So I hope those things will help you. And if you have any questions or you need more help, I'm always here. You can email me at Kara, Kara, @soida.org. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I hope that you feel a little bit better about using Explain Everything. Thank you.